Good morning. Thank you very much for having us. I'm Liz Neely, the Curator of Digital Experience at the George O'Keeffe Museum.
I'm Dale Cronkright. I'm Head of Conservation at the George O'Keeffe Museum.
Yeah. So with the rapid growth of generative AI, presents an opportunity to leverage collections information and museum scholarship to better serve and engage broader audiences.
Scholarly users of collection databases are rather adept already at navigating fielded data and synthesizing catalog information. However, most museum audiences generally begin their experience by looking and becoming curious about how an object in front of them might relate to their lives.
With these questions in mind, the George O'Keeffe Museum is prototyping generative AI prompt-based interfaces with its existing data from art, archive, and historic home collections. But let's go backwards a little bit and say who we are.
Right. So the American modern artist George O'Keeffe created well over 2,000 works of art, including oils, pastel paintings, charcoal and graphite drawings, watercolors, photographs, and sculptures during her nearly 70-year career.
Does everyone know George O'Keeffe? Yeah? Yes,
good. Okay, good.
So the George O'Keeffe Museum started in 1997, so we are actually pretty new. We have galleries, we have a research center, conservation of course, and two historic homes that she lived in an hour north. As a single artist museum, while people do come to us for our wonderful collections and to borrow our wonderful collections, they are generally interested in all things O'Keeffe. So really, when they come to us, they expect us to know everything about O'Keeffe, a kaleidoscopic view of the artist within larger context and beyond our museum's collections. And knowing this, the museum has produced a lot of, research products, digital research products. So for example here, this is beyond our collection, so someone can use a data visualization to explore the full career of George O'Keeffe by production technique. We have over 720 exhibition catalog checklists, and so this also includes checklist items from other collections. And for those, you can click out to view in current collection when it's published somewhere else, and working on the digital catalog resume. And this is all backed up by linked art and IIIF. And I want to shout out to Design for Context, who are my partners or have been for like 6 years, 7 years, something like that. So, but with all of this, it was really, our user base was often researchers, museum professionals. That's who we did a lot of our focus grouping with. So we started thinking, how do we use this data infrastructure to actually reach broader audiences?
Right. So our aim is to reward an initial question expressed by any visitor, online or in person, by starting an unscripted natural language dialogue. So rewarding curiosity is what we're aiming for. Leveraging our collection data, augmenting these with museum-authored online content, as well as reference sources already embedded in AI's large language model training, we prompt AI to always conclude a response with another open-ended question. So for example, are you interested in learning more about the colors O'Keeffe used in painting this work of art in 1923? On its own, generative AI emphasizes the biases embedded in previously published scholarship and web content. We're all aware of that flaw, but it does not evaluate very well what's missing. And so that really is up to us to try and fill in those gaps.
Yep.
Yep.
So just to say really quickly, with our initial experiments, we don't have a developer team. We're small. We wanted to do this experiment so that we could actually build out where we were exploring. I won't get too much in it. We started with Amazon Bedrock. We did a lot of things with custom GPTs. A lot of those actually with, in our structured data and unstructured world, hated our structured data. So, and I'm going to shout out Bruce Wyman, who worked with us. Moved to a RAG interface with some open search. Of course, this is where in the future we'd want to do something that talked directly to our linked art in the semantic way. But just to say that this is where the experiments were kind of coming from. And as part of this, with the experiments, we worked with Kay Haley Goldman at HD & Co. on this, is what were the non-academic questions? And so we actually did a survey and got 0 academic self-identifying museum professionals, yay. And yeah, so, but this also just started to give us a sense for artistic practice, biography, lifestyle, and this is things that we can actually map to our collections data, that we know artistic practices from our art collections data and conservation, biography, our archives, and lifestyle archives, and our historic homes. So we're also pretty excited about that.
It's really interesting that you can prompt AI to search not only your collection data, and we can all see where collection data lives in that pie chart, but also the things like lifestyle and biography that might be in other published sources. So we can include that in its answers.
So we just wanted to give some examples to show some of the insights that we're looking at. And again, we're using these things to drive what the next project will be. So here, what blues did Georgia O'Keeffe use? And what, the insights that we're getting from this is that this will understand an inquiry with non-expert language, which our databases don't do such a great job at. Responds to the museum instructions most of the time. So I tell it, always gives the catalog raisonné number, always give the dates, because she named everything abstraction. You might define, yeah, so, but then it doesn't sometimes. So that's something we would have to refine as part of the project. And it's augmenting with these external sources. So we see Jackson's Art Supplies, Winsor & Newton, Museum of Modern Art. So not only is it pulling in from outside, but then we can also see are these the verified sources. So this is something that we would look at a little more deeply. And actually, these are great, fantastic sources.
Great when you ask AI to answer a question about our collection, if it goes to an external source to get that information, it will reference that, so you know where it came from.
So going beyond Q&A, so we just asked it, tell me more about the specific paintings using blue. Comes up with it, does not follow my instructions, by the way.
And this is in real time. This is how fast it answers.
So here, what we really wanted to point out is that what Dale was talking about before is that it's not a Q&A, right? So a Q&A means user asks a question and you get a response. It is
a dialogue. The important thing about this is AI has the capacity to be generative, so it has the ability to create a dialogue that's never created before and go back and forth with answers and follow-up open-ended questions. So asking, do any of these paintings resonate with you? You might get a yes, you might get a no, you might get, well, I'm really interested in where she lived when she did this painting, and it can deliver all that.
So it generates those conditions for dialogue, it encourages and rewards curiosity, which is what our goal is.
So one of the great things about using AI is that in this kind of dialogue context is there's no audience that the user has to worry about. They have to worry about asking a stupid question. They don't have to worry about being heard or critiqued in any way. They can let their imagination go and change direction at any time.
So here we ask, well, what other artists use those blues? So this allows a follow-up prompt so that you can follow your own path of curiosity. We already talked about Borges, someone did, and that garden of forking paths, so it's infinite possibilities of where this can go. And it establishes its broader context. But as you can see, a lot of times it wants to give you who are the most popular, the white European men. So this is an area that we would want to train further. And finally, what the heck is cerulean blue? And this gets to your point.
Right, just being able to ask a very general question, like it answers, well, there's cerulean blue in O'Keeffe's paints. Well, what the heck is that? Again, the conversation can change directions, and it can be responsive. It can be a true dialogue rather than a Q&A.
Yeah, and this just allows for those clarifying questions, again, being able to follow the curiosity that you want without judgment. I can ask a dumb question, and it's a robot, so it doesn't know. I mean, I ask dumb questions all the time, but maybe someone. So it's lowering those barriers to follow curiosity through the dialogue. Oh, there was only 2 there, but that's good, because we're almost out of time.
We're out of time.
So our closing thoughts are, these possibilities are promising. We need to go in wide-eyed. Of course, we know the energy issues, perpetuating bias. So these are all things that we can fight against, and open and transparent data is what we really want.
And we need museums like all of you to keep publishing material that you are certain of online. When AI goes out and scrubs websites, we want it to be able to scrub and tell the difference between authoritative sources where the material is referenced and something that's much more loosely composed.
Yeah, and we'll be developing evaluation frameworks for generative AI, which is pretty difficult to, and further develop those unstructured and structured pathway, particularly with linked art. Thank you, that was really fun.
Thank you.
Can I welcome you back on the floor? And you may stand here between the lantern here, over here in the light, so that people can see you on the live stream as well. I want to open up the floor for questions. Are there any questions? Here in the front, on Tom. Or maybe start in the middle so that you don't have to be running down. Yeah, that's right there.
Thank you, that was all fascinating. Question for the last speakers. Just a technical one, I was wondering, the references that you mentioned, are they really directing you to the direct source, or are they more general? And I was also interested if you could tell me more about how people reacted, and also to always have an open question at the end. Does it bother them after a while or not? I was wondering.
Well, we have it. The testing has been very limited because this is a prototype. I can't say anyone has been that we've kind of worked with has been annoyed, but I don't know how much time, because it's still a very controlled environment. Right now, it just links to that resource. But because this is a prototype, I think that's what we, between what the museum's goals are and what we learn are the user goals, first of all, those references to collection objects should link directly to this collections office when we go into a real production environment. And can we get closer? Right now, it would just link there. My guess is that we won't be able to get to a direct link on that unless AI has that, because that is actually going out to the general AI. So lots of improvements there, but it is interesting that those are the sources that I would want them using.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing in my experiments has been that if you tell the AI in your lead-up prompt what you want it to search for, what references you would like it to emphasize or overweight in its semantic space, it'll do that and create then the conversation based on the sources that you're really interested in.
Thank you. Here in the front, there was a question by Anton.
Yeah, hi, Antoine Isaac, Europeana. Actually, I'm just going to follow up on what you just said, because the question was about this. Actually, what have you done in terms of the lead-up prompt? Have you customized the chat engine, and is it something that you can share? Because this sort of experience maybe...
Yeah, we can share the prompts that we've kind of designed, and then, the background. So we're putting in the knowledge base, very simple at this point, and indexing it for the open search, and then augmenting it with other knowledge-based things mainly through an AI, open AI prompt. That is not where we would go when we get funding to do the full project. I think we'd get a lot more, because right now we're actually being very redundant, but I'd be happy to share what we have right now.
Okay, thank you. There was a question in the back. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And another one in the middle.
Oh.
Dank u wel voor je presentatie. So I suppose you know to whom I'm addressing. It was very interesting.
Could you maybe also state
I'm
your
Mariana
name?
from the University of Porto in Portugal. I don't know if it's an interesting question, but I wonder when we have this kind of projects that have budget from the European Union, when it is finished, then we need resources to maintain all these servers. So did you did you plan the after project? So now you have everything online, and you need money. How did you plan it? Because it's always a problem we have in Portugal, because we don't have resources in the organizations, and then it stops, and it's like the money went away, and nothing is on.
Very recognizable problem. We have promised to keep everything alive for at least 5 years, and we can do that out of my research institute. We have those resources, so that's great. And like a madman, we're searching for follow-up projects to expand also the knowledge graph. We already have one here in the Netherlands that adds poetry, because we weren't really able to get theater plays and poetry in as much as possible. It's harder, of course, to tag. I suppose that all the sort of the data storage that we already did will be viable. After all, we can also make data dumps at DANS, for instance, here in the Netherlands. But that's not our objective. Our objective is really to make sure that through follow-up projects we expand and not diminish. So that's, we're really committed to do that. But that's the only thing I can say about it like this. Of course, it's dependent on the European research facilities also.
Thank you so much for your answer and for the interesting questions. I think we're wrapping up the session because there's coffee outside. Maybe another round of applause for the great speakers.